So by now, you should have everything up and running, and you're in the midst of optimizing your campaigns. And you're focused on reducing costs in the parts that don't work and increasing results in the parts that do. But if you don't have a lot of sales or you don't have anything at all, it's hard to know what's wrong. Are you getting the wrong people to your website? Or do you have the right visitors, but the wrong products or pricing? Or is there some other kind of problem? So in the previous lessons, I told you to be patient and you have to wait to about like 50 or 200 visitors before you can make a sale. But instead of just waiting, is there something you can do in the meantime? Yes, there certainly is. Until now, we've mainly relied on using Google Ads to really show us what's going on and to see all the data. But when we set up all the different systems, we also connected with Google Analytics. And that will give us more insights into what people do after they click the ad, even if they're not buying. So here I'm in Google Analytics, I'm in acquisition, Google Ads, and the campaigns overview. So here you can see all of the campaigns for a client of mine, and I will pick a shopping campaign just to show you what's going on. So if I click through on that, it will actually show me the ad group. So here I have one ad group, but if you would have multiple, you would see multiple ad groups here. Click through, and that gives us the keyword or the actual product ID. So you don't see the keywords here, but you see the product IDs. So here, this is the all products ad group, and then you see the specific numbers. So these numbers correspond to the SKUs in your backend. And yeah, you're able to see the performance of each specific product. So for this particular campaign, we can see that the cost was 222 euros, and we made back around 1,600. That's very good for this advertiser. We made back almost 8 times that cost. So you can also look at the different keywords or the different products to see how they performed and adjust your approach accordingly. So here we see a different account, and we are in a particular campaign, and we can see the different ad groups. So again, for this client, there's only one ad group. And here you can actually see we had 126 clicks, spent about 27 euros, but we haven't made any sales yet. So this is somewhere in that range of 50 to 200 clicks, right? What's going on? Well, if we don't have any sales, we don't really have anything to go by. So if we just look at this number, we might turn off this campaign and say like, okay, that $27, I'd rather invest that somewhere else where I am making a difference. But luckily we can do something in the meantime. And that's here through 2 metrics, one called bounce rate and the other pages per session. And bounce rate is really how many people that land on this page leave straight away without clicking through, without doing anything on your website. So you can see here 86% of everyone that lands on this page leaves immediately after. So 86%, that's pretty high. How do you know if it's high? Well, you'll see in the gray text below the average for your view. So here we can see that the average bounce rate for the view is about 68%, which is also pretty high. So we can expect bounce rates to be high for this campaign. But nevertheless, this is pretty low. If we look at the other pages per session, so on average, people see 1.4 pages during their session. And if you take a look at average view, that's about 2.2. So on average, people look at more products. But again, those averages, they really are for in many times the whole website. So it's all kinds of traffic. So it's people also coming from other channels onto your website. And you can find out if this is good or bad by comparing it with similar type of products. So look at another campaign and evaluate if this 86% is high. Like, it is high. Usually, even for this client, anything above 80, it's really like an alarm bell because If 80 or 90 or 95% of the people are leaving straight away, it's a strong indicator that there's a mismatch to what people were expecting before they clicked and what they actually saw. And you might think that, how is it a mismatch? People see the actual image of the product that they're clicking on, but you have to remember that people click on everything. They don't necessarily look at everything that you have put in your ad. Like, it's important and you have to grab the attention, but it could be that often people click through for who your product isn't the best match. So here for this client, we have looked into this, and it turned out that there were more searches coming in for products that weren't really relevant for us. So actually a lot of these searches weren't really super relevant. It's not that they were completely useless, but they were for products that we didn't really sell, like small variations and stuff. So so we took care of that, and that resulted in a lower bounce rate. So you want to compare this bounce rate to other campaigns that are new or are in a similar trajectory. Or you can also compare the bounce rate and the pages per session over time. If you make changes, if you add negative keywords, or if you increase bids today, what does that do with the bounce rate? Let's say compare this week against the last, or these last 30 days versus the 30 days before that. And that will give you a better idea on if the changes you're making, if that actually is having an impact. This is a different advertiser, and I wanted to show you some of the bounce rates here. Remember that these are not only shopping campaigns, so it's a bit of a mix of search campaigns and shopping campaigns. But I wanted to show you just how much the bounce rate can be different. So here we have 47% bounce rate. That's for branded traffic. That's still pretty high because the product is available in other places as well. So here we have 53%, which is pretty good, seeing that the average is 72% for this view, so pretty high. And then it goes up and up and up. And here we have about 95%, which is very high. And this is still, it's a new campaign that we're testing and we're looking at and we're exploring a bit what we can do and what the response is. So going off this data, the early response isn't too great. So we'll have to further dig down into this campaign to see why it's not performing. But this can be indicators. So even though this campaign doesn't have any transactions, we know that a 95% bounce rate is way too high and we should do something about it. Same for the pages per session. As you can see, they're pretty low for this particular advertiser. There are only 3 for the branded traffic. Often you will see this varying like really hard. Like campaigns that bring quality traffic will often have like 7, 8, 10 pages per session, while the ones that don't, they average around like 1, 1.5, 1.2, something like that. So that's things that you can look at. Another account where I wanted to show you the differences between a couple of different brands. So this advertiser sells many different brands. Here I've selected 3, and you can always find 2 groups. First one, a non-branded campaign, and then a branded campaign. Here again, non-branded, branded, non-branded, branded. And you can see the differences between bounce rates between the campaigns. So here you have, let's look at the branded traffic, a 75% bounce rate. Here you have a 78% bounce rate, so a little bit less relevant. And here you only have a 70% bounce rate. So you can actually see also in the pages per session that this one is a pretty good campaign. So we are almost at 4 pages per session. Here we're at 2.5 and here we're at 2.9. So actually this traffic, there are transactions that have come in, and you can also see that it's reflected in that conversion rate, that this conversion rate is a lot higher. And the pages per session is higher and the bounce rate is a lot lower. So that's no surprise. That means that actually these visitors are a good match for the products they're seeing. Compare that to this one. So we have non-branded traffic. We have about an 80% conversion rate, 2.7 average pages per session. That's still high, but no transactions. So if we compare this one, 79% for non-branded traffic, to this first brand with 66% bounce rate, 5 pages per session, and then also bringing in conversions, you can see that there's a big difference. So here we're at 80 and here we're at 66%. So you can see actually the non-branded traffic for this brand. So you know these products work a lot better for non-branded traffic than these products do. So we do know that here in the bids for the non-branded traffic, we can be a bit more aggressive because we know they convert. They even convert better than actually the branded traffic, and it's cheaper. It's like the half of the price. And here for this one, we know that probably we should turn the bids down for the non-branded traffic. Same story here a bit. People look at a lot of pages, have a low bounce rate, and they do convert. So this shows like the difference between the different campaigns and also the things you can learn, even if you ignore the actual sales data. Traffic quality is really something we can see if there's no transactions coming in. The next set of reports will help you get a bit of a feel for what people are doing on your website. Also, even if they're not converting. So we set up enhanced e-commerce, and if you set it up correctly, it will give you the shopping behavior analysis report. And this actually shows the funnel of people coming onto your website, all visitors. This is everybody on the website. Then sessions with product views, so people that have seen specific products, people that have added something to their cart, that have started the checkout, and then the actual transactions that you saw. So here you can see the numbers, you can see people dropping out, and you can see like where you should focus your efforts. So by default, this is for all users, but we're interested in the paid traffic, even in Google Shopping traffic, but for this client, I'm gonna just do the paid traffic. So if you click here, you'll actually go to the segment report. So I'm gonna turn that one off, and I'm gonna choose paid traffic. Hit apply, and we can see the same pattern for all of the traffic. For this advertiser in this time frame, we have a 0.5% conversion rate, which I told you was about average. But then there's all sorts of other things that we can see here, but this one is an interesting one. So we lose about 90% of the traffic, and here we have about 1.5% of people that add something to the cart, and this is very low. If you have a well-running store, you can get this up 5, sometimes 10%. Might be a bit lower if you're on a smartphone. But the reason why, so this is a report that always combines with a number with you asking like, why is this happening? So why are only 1.5% of the people adding something to their cart, while I know like a benchmark for stores is around 5%? Well, it could mean a few things, and it means like specific things in your case. So it could be that you're not bringing enough quality buyers to your website. Maybe where you get your traffic, it's way too general, or you're not showing them a good deal. You're not showing them the right product. You're not explaining it well, or no, it doesn't have the right price, or there's too much uncertainty. People don't trust your website, or they don't trust you enough to buy from them. So there could be a lot of reasons, but this is like a way for you to understand what's going on. You can also look at this report again, comparing to different traffic sources, or comparing over time. So here, for example, this is from the last couple of days. I'm gonna compare it to the days before to see if we made a change. So here you can see in the last couple of days we had about 87% more traffic, 130% more product views. We had 100% more add to carts, but that only resulted in 40% extra transactions. So we had 87% more traffic, but only 40% increase in transactions. So this will give you a lot of ideas and things to think about on how to improve or where things are actually are going wrong. Here again, if you scroll down, you can see the actual percentages as well. So for example, we had at the cart ratio of 1.2 and it went down to 0.9. So what happened here? Which one was it? Was it less qualified buyers, or where was the actual problem? So I hope this shows that I've barely scratched the surface of what is possible in Google Analytics. And it's insanely valuable to really dig down into all of your reports and see where you might be able to improve on your different parts of your marketing efforts. But some basic rules always apply, like look at your numbers and then compare to other channels or other traffic sources or other campaigns during the same time period, and then also compare to a different time period, especially if you're making changes. Making changes and then looking afterwards in Google Analytics to see the impact of those changes can really help you to make your efforts more valuable.